let's talk about finding the feeling as a form of manifesting. Okay, because there's a ton of different thought philosophies out there about how do you actually manifest and create the life that you want to be living. It's not necessarily a game of materialism as far as a pile of things. Like, we didn't come here for a pile of things, we came here for experiences, right? This is Earth School. So we want experiences, we want feelings. Okay. And if you follow Abraham, or I mean, there's many other, like, really anything that's veering towards law of attraction, where basically it's teaching you that, like, you are the magnet, right? You emit a signal, and based on the signal that you're emitting, you're attracting your life. And so, how do you get, like, in front of that process? How do you make it how you want it to be on purpose? And finding the feeling is, I mean, it's like such a learnable superpower. Okay. And I say learnable because I learned it. So, like, I know what it was like to, not know how to do that. And I know what it's been like to practice doing that and to click in to feeling like I got the hang of it, to like a new level of empowerment of like, what do you want to create next? Because limitless. Because if you can find the feeling, if you know what it is to like generate a feeling inside of yourself on purpose, and then hold that feeling on purpose, you're a magnet. You're a match to that timeline. Okay. And we can go as far out into the universe as we want with this conversation of creating our reality, because what even is reality? Like this multidimensional reality, this multidimensional human experience that we're living, that it's really about learning how to surf on top of the wave. And that for me is this process of finding the feeling. Like, I don't get to know the details. I don't get to know exactly like what it's all for and why timing, why lows, why highs. Like, none of my business, right? Like, but what is my business is the feeling I'm creating, the feeling I'm manifesting, and being sensitive and discerning to my guidance system such that I can even recognize what feeling am I manifesting in a given moment, and then also gaining the skills to regulate my nervous system there. Because when we catch glimpses of feelings that feel better than our normal set point, we can go there for a second, but if you want to like move your whole life there, like you want to replant yourself in that frequency more of the time, then you need to know how to hold a feeling. And holding a feeling is a matter of focus. It's a matter of paying attention on purpose and focus. And that for me, and everybody's got their own way. Like, we're all artists of creating perspective, right? Like, it's so fun to share. Like, what does your process look like? This is just what mine looks like. But for me, paying attention on purpose is a lot about my values. It's a lot about like what is truly most important. And I only have so many minutes in the day. I only have so many days in this life that I have no idea how many of those are left. And what is truly most important for me to fill my inner world with, for me to pay attention to, for me to consume. And when I give my attention to what matters most first, and then what matters next most, and next most, and next most, and now it's the end of the day, and I go to bed, and I am so like freaking satisfied with how I spent my day, how I spent my attention for this day. And that satisfied feeling, like when you will think about pretty much anything that you want to manifest, And then ask yourself, why do you want to manifest it? And reach for what is the feeling that you're trying to feel here? Like, how is it that you think you're going to feel when you win the lottery, or when you get the promotion, or when you buy the house, or when you have the child? Like, how are you going to feel when that happens? And feel for it, right? Don't just name it and like pluck a word out of your brain, but like get down in your body. Feel the insides of your abdomen. Feel what it feels like in that future moment. And this is like a really fun part of this like conversation around finding that feeling, because really I believe, and I share this just because it's a fun picture to paint. I have a lot of fun telling this story, if you can't already tell. And so I tell you that, like, I believe that when I'm reaching for a feeling, what I'm really doing is, through my feelings, through my intuition, I am accessing a part of myself, a part within my wholeness that is connected to the interconnectedness of all things, that's connected to source energy, that's connected to infinite intelligence, that's connected to my higher self, that is also your higher self. Okay? So the interconnectedness of the all is available to me through my emotions, through my intuition. This is what I believe. You can subscribe, not subscribe, doesn't matter to me. And I would be very curious what you believe, to hear in the comments if you feel like sharing. But accessing the interconnectedness of the all, and in that space, I'm stepping outside of time. Like, when source energy, infinite intelligence, the reason infinite intelligence is infinite is because it's outside of time, where past, present, and future have all already happened. Okay, so infinite and multidimensional, and there's nothing in that space that is unknown. Everything is known in that space, okay? Which is like the root of ultimate security, but that's a conversation for another day. Finding the feeling and getting into this space outside of time, where past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. I have access to my future self. I have access to her brain. I have access to her body. I have access to her eyeballs. I have access to her ears. I have access to her awareness and her wisdom. I have access to her memories. Okay? And so when I'm reaching for a feeling, what I'm reaching for is my future self. And yes, she is standing in the middle of the thing I want to manifest. New home. Let's just say I'm building a house right now. So, like, this is a practice that, I am designing my home and I'm building it, and wanting to do that from a place of aligning the energy to feel how I want to feel once I live there. Starting kind of at that end of how do I want to feel once it's finished, and then reverse engineering my way backwards from there through intuitive guidance and step-by-step nudges that are unfolding and making themselves known piece by piece. And my future self, all of my future selves, they're existing in their now moments. And so when I reach for a feeling, I am merging into my future self. And I go into this level of detail because, again, this is part of my tools of focus and paying attention. I make it as tangible as it possibly can be, that it is me merging with my future self. When I reach for this feeling, I am feeling her, and I am becoming her. I am allowing her to fill me. I am allowing her to magnetize me forward into who I am becoming through whatever experience it is that I'm living at the time, be that something enjoyable or not. I've used this when I feel awful. How do I want to feel? And tap into a future version of myself that already feels that way. You know, she's feeling like that right now, and she remembers how she got to where she is from where I am standing in this moment of not feeling so good. So, this act of reaching forward and finding a feeling, finding the way that you want to feel, and locating it inside of yourself in a future moment, like that's already real. You know, it's already real. And through that reality, you have access to the feeling that you want to manifest right now. Okay? And this is the conversation of supercharging your magnet, of like when you will feel like it's already real, when you'll feel like the hundreds of thousands of dollars are already sitting in my bank account. You know, when you can access that in your nervous system. Okay, like you can embody it. You can like sit in the reality of my bank account balance has hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. And that's what's real. And when I go to the grocery store, my bank account has hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. So, like, when I pay my mortgage, when I, go get gas, when my washing machine breaks and I have to buy a new one, my bank account has hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. Like, when you can live inside that reality, like it's already real, and this is where children, like, they play pretend naturally. They have imaginations. They know about fantasy and the tool that it is, the valuable tool that it is to know how to imagine and pretend that you're in a different reality. Because when you can do that, you vibrate like that reality is already happening. And the materialization around you of the physical details of, you know, actually physically, tangibly being able to log into a bank account that has hundreds of thousands of dollars in it to where you could like show somebody like there's a nut, like look at like right there, it's evident, it's tangible, like it can materialize in a magnetic reflection of the consistency of the reality that you are vibrating, like the reality of your inner world, like the level of security that you are able to embody inside your nervous system will attract the physical circumstances of your life. And that's just on the topic of money. We could go into the topic of love, we could go into the topic of purpose, we could go into the topic of health. It all works the same. Finding the feeling of how do you want to feel, reaching into your future self on this highest possible timeline where exactly what you want exists because you're a creator. So if you can imagine it, then that means all of the cooperative components and all of the universal forces necessary to make it happen, it's all available. And so it's just a matter of like, how do you merge with that? How do you be a cooperative component of your own highest timeline? And for me, I practice this by finding the feeling. And, it's one of those things where like I said earlier in the video, like I feel like I've really like got the hang of it. And at the same time, like, of course, like that's just this little latest like growth spurt of like getting the hang of it. And I am delighted that I will continue to get better and better and better at this, often by, being in contrast, where we get clearer and clearer and clearer on how do you want to feel, like, and then feel that in your body. Give your sweet body access to that feeling right now, because you deserve it, because you deserve to feel however you want to feel right now. And like that annoying like truism or whatever of like the answers you seek are within you, or like everything that you need is already inside of you. And it's like, fucking where is it inside of me? And it's this is my takeaway anyway, is that everything that you need that's already inside of you, it's your intuition, it's your emotions. Why? Because you're accessing the interconnectedness of the all. You're accessing infinite intelligence. And if you've got access to the quantum where past, present, and future have already all happened, and you can tune in to any wisdom along that timeline that you want, you can embody any feeling at any moment, you have full access to your power. You have full access to the quantum field of like you can create anything you want. Okay? And like if you're a match to this message, please drop me a comment. I would love to hear like what energy does this move as far as being able to relax and let go of the details of what it is that you're manifesting and simply hold the feeling of how you think you're going to feel once that happens and feel it as openly, powerfully in your nervous system, as consistently on the regular. Make it as tangible. Give yourself reminders. Revisit it day after day. Hold the frequency. Hold the frequency of how you want to feel. And it doesn't just happen. Okay, it costs energy to do that, but the ROI, the return on your investment, I've not found a more valuable place to invest personally than spending my conscious attention focusing on how I want to feel such that my body gets to experience it now. It's one of the most valuable practices I've ever found, and it is one of my most favorite things to discuss lately. Um, Thank you for listening and for sharing if this moves energy for you to do that.